Almost a lifetime ago, there were two teenagers who met at a youth conference. They laughed and they flirted and they danced, and at the end of the night, they wound up in a graveyard. Not alone, there were tons of other kids from the conference running around playing hide-and-go-seek. But I think that a young Michael Brooks wished he were alone with the beautiful Cherry Cameron. But she was only 15 and away from home with a bunch of other cute boys, and if you know Cherry, you know she loved the attention. Mike never could get Cherry alone that night or any other night. In fact, they didn't see each other again until 4 years later, a couple weeks before Mike left on his mission. They'd grown a lot since then, Mike into a first-string quarterback and Cherry into a cheerleader. Seriously, could these two be any more cliche? And according to Mike, Cherry had no clue who he was. Of course, if Cherry were up here speaking now, she'd say, "Of course I remembered him. He was Jim Horn's cute friend." But Mom, come on, don't make this about you. God bless Jim Horn for putting these two in the same room again after all these years since the youth conference. Mike had spent years pining after her. He'd never even kissed a girl in the hopes that Cherry would eventually come back into his life and he would sweep her off her feet. But Mike, popular as he appeared to be, was so shy that he never even called to ask her on a date. This is the part of the story where I tell you that Mike and Cherry wrote love letters to each other his whole mission and got married 2 weeks after he got home. But as it turns out, Mike wrote Cherry a letter early on in his mission and she never responded. Poor guy. He waited 2 whole years for a reply but never received even a postcard. Figuring she must be married, this was back in the olden days before Facebook, he started to date a girl in his ward when he returned home after 2 years serving in San Jose, California. The girl was okay, but Mike still couldn't get Cherry out of his mind. Then a miracle happened. Cherry's sister was in Mike's ward and told him that Cherry was coming into town for a weekend to visit. Cindy knew Mike was dating someone, but asked Mike if he could still show her sister a good time that weekend. Mike went home and broke up with his girlfriend. When Cherry got to town, Mike tried to play it cool, acting like he didn't remember her. Unfortunately for him, Cherry played it even cooler and actually didn't remember him. But they went on that date in the late May of 1989, and then they went on another. And another, and another. And a funny thing happened. They fell in love. Fast forward through all the summer romancing to August 17th. Cherry was just 2 weeks away from leaving to Israel for a semester at BYU Jerusalem. As much as she loved Mike, she didn't want him to feel like he had to wait around for her. So she prepared a speech. A breakup speech. And when Mike took her up to the most beautiful view he could find, where they could see the entire city and all the stars in the night sky, she told him, "Mike, we need to talk." I know. What happened next is quite possibly the most romantic thing that has ever come out of Mike's mouth. He said, "Me first," and got down on one knee. What Cherry didn't know was that Mike had also been preparing a speech. Cherry didn't even realize what was happening. She just stood there in silence as Mike told her, "I want you to walk with me, stand by me, and grow with me for the rest of my life and forever." What happened after that is quite possibly the least romantic thing that has ever come out of Cherry's mouth. She said, "I was going to break up with you." He asked if what he had said changed her mind, and she told him that she was going to have to think about it. For 3 whole days, she fasted and prayed for an answer, and at the end of 3 whole days, she called him and told him that she thought it would be okay. My grandpa told my mom that he knew from the moment he met Mike that he would be the one to help his daughter reach her fullest potential. He was just waiting for her to figure it out too. Truly, my mom and dad have stood by each other, walked together, and grown together throughout the past 28 years. That isn't to say that it's been easy, but it is to say that they made a beautiful life for themselves. I mean, just look at their 5 beautiful children if you want to see the evidence. These two have been together now for more of their lives than they've been apart. One of their anniversaries not long ago, they asked each other how it is that 2 imperfect people could still be together after so many years. They came to the conclusion that they were both always willing to sacrifice their pride for their marriage covenant, and it has made all the difference. There's been disagreements, there's been apologies, there's been forgiveness. There's been tests and trials that would have destroyed any other marriage, but not theirs. I've never had more confidence in the love that 2 individuals have for each other than I do in the love my parents have in their marriage. I can look at them and tell you right now that there is nothing in this world that could ever tear them apart. It may have taken a young Cherry Cameron a little while to come around to the idea, but they are meant for each other. I don't know if I believe in soulmates, but if there were such a thing, then they'd be it. They've chosen each other every day for the last 28 years, and I know they'll keep choosing each other for the rest of their lives and forever, because true love stories never end. I told my mom once that she was my best friend, and I struggled not to be offended when she told me that my dad is her best friend. It's okay, I still think I'm up there on the list. I love you, Mom and Dad. You've been the best parents and the best examples of love to my brothers and me. I can only hope to find someone who loves me as much as you two love each other.